It's not working. Always have to read a little bit before I go to bed. I clicked out of my spot. I need to bookmark it. I love small town tropes. It's definitely one of my favorites. Is it Kate? What is your name, girl? Do you eat or drink a smoothie? Alright, so I have this little idea. I'm probably gonna do a better opening or intro for this, but I'm thinking what we are gonna do is read for an hour every single day for a week and see how much reading we can get done. I haven't been in a reading slump. I had a few books that went so well. One of them was Bingsu for Two. I loved that book so much. So I've been in a bit of a reading mood, and I thought, all right, I'm out of my reading slump. Maybe we should do some reading. So I'm gonna do an hour of reading every day. I already started this one book. It's called Spring Fling. So it's another romance book, but I really wanted to get it out of the way because it's a NetGalley book that came out last week. And so I'd like to go and get my review and everything done for this one. And then after that, we'll probably tackle another book from my Defend the TBR list. And we'll see how that goes. So I'm gonna go and get my timer set once I find where my timer is. And going to start. Here we go. Okay, so I was around, I think 13% when I started off, and now I'm at 34%. The hour has just finished. I'll probably do some more reading tonight because I always have to read a little bit before I go to bed. But so far I'm liking this book. It's definitely probably due to the fact that I love small town tropes. I grew up in a small town, and at the time when I lived there, being in a small town kind of drove me wild. There were things I liked about it and a lot of things I didn't. But now that I'm older, I love the nostalgia of reading small town stories. And so yeah, I'm really liking the story so far. Miley's our female main character, and then Ben is our male main character. Miley's grown up in this small town and created her own business and everything. She's well loved by everyone. She lives with her granny and her younger sister, and then suddenly finds out that her childhood best friend, also slash crush, Ben, is moving back to the town for a small period of time while he goes and sells his family home. And Ben is kind of in the process of trying to sell the house as soon as possible so he can get out of town before anything happens. He doesn't really want to socialize with anyone. He just wants to be out fast, quick, nothing happening. But that's kind of not going the way as he had hoped, because when it's a small town, news travels fast and everyone wants to go and see him or get him to date their younger daughter. And he runs into Miley and realizes that the feelings he had for her didn't disappear. So it's going really well. I'm enjoying it so far and can't wait to go and continue reading it. Okay, so today is day 2, continuing on with the little challenge of reading for an hour. Currently, I'm still in Spring Fling. I am 53% of the way through. Hi, Kiko. But I'm 53% of the way through, so I did a little bit more reading yesterday after I got off work, and then of course did some reading before I went to bed. So in some ways it's not entirely accurate because I am reading more than an hour a day, but at least for this I'm documenting how much I get done in an hour every single day. And if anything, this is just showing that it's really helping me get out of my reading slump that I'm in, which I feel like I definitely got out of that reading slump when I was reading Bingsu for Two. I really enjoyed that book, and oddly enough, I'm kind of just in this romance mood and reading cute romance books. So yeah, I'm having fun with it. But we're gonna start our timer. So we got 1 hour here. I also got my tea. and let's do some more reading. Okay, so I'm at 75% of the book and I'm still really loving it. I love small town tropes. It's definitely one of my favorites. And I just feel so nostalgic for my hometown. The main two characters, they're childhood best friends. They had crushes on each other and didn't realize it until later. And the chemistry's still there. And they're kind of like, okay, let's go for this. Let's try this out, see what happens, even though Ben is trying to sell his house and has a potential job offer for a professor position, but in a different state. And even with all those things, they're like, okay, let's try this. And it's really cute, but I am terrified that there's going to be the third act breakup and there's going to be miscommunication. Both of those things I don't like when it comes to a book. And I know I'm not a huge romance reader, but when I do read romance, those are two things that I'm never fond of, and that always bother me so much. So we'll see how this goes. I am probably going to finish this book today, so we'll probably be starting a new book when I do the third day of reading for an hour, but I'm okay for that. I'm okay for that. I'm okay with that. This book actually releases today, so that would be great for me to finish that up and then get my review posted since this is a NetGalley book. So yeah, we'll see how it goes, but I'm really liking it. It's very cute. I know that I saw a lot of reviews on Goodreads were kind of on the lower end, so I don't know necessarily why. I'll probably read through the reviews like I usually do after I finish a book just to see if people were feeling the same way as I was with a book or had the same frustrations. But so far, I'm really enjoying it. I'm liking the fact that I'm enjoying romance right now. Who is she? This girl that loves horror, thrillers. I'm in my romance era, which is really weird. So we'll see what book I pick up after this one. Finished the book and it was really good. I think I'm probably also gonna rate this around 4 stars. I thought it was a cute story and definitely loved the nostalgia of some of the very real aspects of it being a small town. This book is an arc, so of course there's going to be certain things that need to get fixed, like punctuation. I also noticed a few spots where the wrong character's name was being mentioned, and I was like, wait a second, that character wasn't even in the room or wasn't even in this scene. But it's an arc, so that's of course going to probably be edited out and fixed for the final version. But I thought it was a really cute story and I really enjoyed it. And now I need to pick something new to read for tomorrow. So that's yet to be decided. Good morning. So I know I was talking about starting a new book because I had to rush and finish Spring Fling. So the one I picked up is De-Evolution by Max Brooks. I'm a little on the fence on this one, but it's a quick read, so I figured I should probably get it out of the way for Defend the TBR. So we'll see how this goes, but it's kind of so far in journal entries, And I feel like I always have a love-hate relationship with some of these. Sometimes they're so interesting, and then other times I'm just like zoning out and zooming through the book. So we'll see how this goes. I got to page 22 because I started reading it last night in bed. And yeah, so let me get my timer set up and we shall start reading. I'm so tired. We forgot to turn our heat on last night, and I might have went to bed with my hair a little bit wet in a French braid, and my throat is a little bit sore. So I hope I'm not getting sick. We shall see. But anyway, here's our timer. Let's start reading. Oh. So there's a part that really didn't age well. I don't know when this book was released, but there is an interview portion and there was a part that said, Rysdale, suck on that, Elon Musk. Tony, no, I love Elon. He's a good guy, but he does have some catching up to do. Yeah, so I read that last night. But anyway, back to reading. So I just got to page 68 and it seems like it's kind of picking up so far. So this group of people, they're in this area called Green Loop, which is really close to Mount Rainier. And it kind of seems like a little isolated neighborhood, so to say. Like everything is these people wanting to kind of have remote living, but also have it more urban in a way instead of survivalist. So they get things delivered by drone, and it's kind of like this small community, and suddenly the power gets shut off. Communication kind of seems to be down. There's not a backup generator for emergency electricity. And so some people are like, it's fine, everything's fine. Whereas this older woman in the community is like, no, things are not fine. We need to stockpile all of our food, see what we have, compile our resources, and no one's really listening to her. And the main character, who I guess was sent here by her brother, is suddenly kind of taken under the wing of this old lady, and the old lady's like, okay, we need to work at night, we need to build a garden, you need to see all the resources we have, document how many calories they have and everything, but also make it appear like everything's normal. And we work at night so no one has any idea what's going on. So it's definitely interesting. It's picking up more, so my interest is definitely there. Whereas before I felt like I was skim reading and kind of clouding over what I was reading on each page. But yeah, I'm interested. I'm certainly curious to see what happens next, but that's kind of where I'm stopping for now. As always, I'll probably read when I go to bed, so we'll see where I pick up tomorrow when I pick this back up. Good morning. So I don't know if I'm catching a cold. Charles got a little bit of a cold earlier this week. We were kind of thinking it might have been allergies, which it's so ironic because he was talking about how it's going to be allergy season and stuff like that. So he had bought some tissues preemptively to help with all of that. And then not even a couple hours later, he was sneezing like none other. So pretty sure he caught a cold. And then a couple days ago, I kind of went to bed with wet hair. I had put it in a braid and everything, but we forgot to turn the heat on, and it was a little bit chillier here in Colorado. If you're not familiar with Colorado, our weather is a little bit wild. We have a false spring quite often where it seems like, okay, the weather's warming up, it's really nice, you're getting excited for the warmer weather and not having to wear sweaters and all that stuff. and then you get a few days of that, and then all of a sudden it's like full out blizzard. So kind of something similar to that. And we thought we had turned our heat back on, but we didn't. So the house was freezing, and I woke up the next morning with a sore throat, but no other cold symptoms. And unfortunately the sore throat's still there. It's not the most comfortable, but I'll be drinking plenty of tea and all that stuff. I love tea anyway, so not anything that I'm forcing myself to do. But also I've been kind of dealing with like acid reflux and everything, and I'm pretty sure it's due to stress, but also I'm 29 years old, and unfortunately as you get older your body changes. So I've learned that some of the snacks that I'd like to have, like sometimes if I'm stressed out I might like to have like a small piece of chocolate after 7 or something like that. And I noticed if I do that, if I drink hot cocoa after a certain time, then I get acid reflux, which is not fun. So yeah, last night while I was sleeping, I just kept having really bad feelings of nausea, and I thought it was stress related. So we'll see. I don't know what's going on. But yeah, I had plans on doing some more productive stuff today, such as filming certain things. Yeah, filming some stuff for my gaming channel, which if you don't know, I created a gaming channel specifically so I can play like cozy games, zombie games, and keep stuff here on this channel more focused towards lifestyle, but mostly book related content. So yeah, I was gonna do some filming for some gaming and everything for my other channel, and then possibly stream later tonight and play some Project Zomboid. We'll see. That is to be determined, because I need to drive Charles to the airport tonight, and then yeah, I was gonna go and do that, but if I'm still feeling like crap, that probably won't happen. So we'll see how that goes. But anyway, you're here for me to do another hour of reading. So we're still reading this book, De-Evolution by Max Brooks, and I'm on page 78, so I did a little bit of reading last night before bed, per usual. So we'll see how this goes, but so far I think it's kind of picking up for me. So just a little bit of a recap with this story. We're basically following the main character, who's the sister of the guy that's introduced, I think, on the first page, where he gave his sister his spot to go into Green Loop, which is this little community where it's environmentally friendly and off the grid. And so he gave his sister his spot, but this event happened, and I guess she disappeared along with everyone else in that community. And so after you get past that little bit of the prologue, you're suddenly reading her journal entries where she's documenting every little piece that happens. And I guess the reason why she's doing this is because she had to deal with her therapist, that she'd document things and talk about her daily life. And so while she's doing that, she's trying to get a better understanding and get to know her neighbors, but all of a sudden this event happens where the power goes off everywhere. But it seems like it's also due to some sort of environmental, I want to say hazard, that doesn't sound right, but there's this event that takes place at Mount Rainier and in the surrounding areas where some people were evacuating but were possibly killed because of the natural disaster. There we go, natural disaster, that's the word. And so her and the people at this community, they're kind of stuck there, and they don't want to leave because they don't know if things are worse off and they're safer staying where they're at. But one of the older women in the community is like, we need a doomsday prep, we need to do this and this, but you also can't let anyone know, so we're gonna work at night. And I believe our main character, her name is Kate, I think? Katie. Her name is Katie. I was close. But yeah, Katie is kind of like, is this lady losing it? So she's not entirely sure what to do, but she's still going along with everything that the older lady's saying. And then at the same time, she's noticing that her husband, who's kind of been
a bit of a dead weight. He's been very unmotivated, not really doing anything. He's suddenly doing all these little tasks that the older woman's asking and learning how to go and use things that he isn't used to. So yeah, I'm interested. It's definitely picking up for me, whereas before it felt like it was very slow going. So anyway, this is a very long intro, but let's do a little bit more reading. I'll get my timer ready, and then I might have to make another cup of tea. But I have my current I have my current cup of tea, which is Earl Grey, which is one of my favorites, and got my timer set. So here we go. Alright, so I'm at page 126. I'm definitely getting through a good chunk of the book so far. And like I said, it's definitely picking up. Now it seems like more of the communities on the same page with, okay, things are getting serious. We need to take this seriously. And the people that were the heads of the community, maybe we shouldn't listen to them, and we should listen to the older lady that is actually trying to help us survive. So yeah, it's definitely good. I'm enjoying it a lot more than I was the first couple of pages, and I'm excited to continue on with this book. Maybe I'll do a little bit more reading today. We shall see. I'm also still feeling the ridiculous nausea, which is annoying. I have some throat coat tea here to help with my sore throat, and then I'm gonna eat my do you eat or drink a smoothie? I'm gonna do one of those two and then go from there. But yeah, we'll catch up again when I do my next chunk of an hour-long reading. Good morning, friends. So I think I have a cold. I think I'm sick. So we'll see how this goes. I'm so bummed about catching this cold because I had planned on doing so much while Charles was away and out of the office. Our home is not an office. I was planning on doing so much while Charles was away from home. I was gonna deep clean and do all that stuff, but it seems like the most I will do is probably reading, which I guess is not a bad thing because I've really been enjoying it lately. I'm not in a reading slump at all. So we're gonna pick up this book and continue reading. I did a little bit, like a tiny bit more. I'm on page 142, and I would personally like to just finish this book and get over it, especially having a sick brain right now. And there's just so much scientific stuff in this book, and I feel like I'm skimming over it. But yeah, there's a lot of anthropology terms, and honestly, the most anthropology I remember is zilch. I took a class in college because it was a required course, and after I finished and passed that class, I threw everything out of my brain. So I personally don't remember anything else. Also, I just realized we have not had different views aside from just I'm constantly in my chair at my desk. I don't have a reading chair in my office anymore. We moved it back downstairs into the living room, and before some not so great stuff happened, I had planned on saving up for a new reading chair in my office, but that unfortunately didn't happen. So my office chair is kind of my permanent reading spot, but you're here for me to continue reading and not to yap. So alright, so I got a little bit distracted. So we have a new cup of tea, which is elderberry, and I'm gonna start my timer and we're gonna read for an hour. So we'll see how far we get. Alright, and 1 hour. Here we go. Alright, so I'm on page 190. After the hour's up, I have this much left to read. So we'll see how this goes. Maybe I'll get a good chunk of it read tonight before bed, or maybe at some point throughout today. And then we could be starting another book tomorrow. We shall see. But yeah, now it seems like things are getting a little bit more intense. Stuff is kind of getting scarier, and people are like, are actually taking things more seriously. So that's kind of nice, instead of some people taking it seriously where the others are completely oblivious or refuse to accept the truth of the matter. So yeah, enjoying it so far, but definitely going to take a little break, and still feeling sick, unfortunately, but sore throat isn't as bad as earlier, so that's a little win. But yeah, I'm gonna get some food and probably make some more tea.
Okay, the lighting isn't best here, but I don't feel great, so I don't really feel the need to fix it. So still sick here, which is not awesome. But I'm on page 210 of this book, so I still have a decent chunk left. If I don't finish it within the hour, I'm gonna keep reading it just so I can complete the book. But oof, I'm so upset. I thought I was feeling better last night and that I'd wake up and I'd feel 100%, or not 100%, but like 80% okay. But yeah, woke up, still don't feel the best. The cats were on one. Sometimes like they just act, I don't know. They went through their food so much quicker last night, and we're like starving this morning. So all three of them were causing chaos in the bedroom. Like Kiko was going and playing with blinds, Finn was trying to eat my hair, and then Cicero was trying to either eat my hair or bite my head, one of the two. Usually if he's hungry, he'll always bite my head. He was a street cat, so for I don't even know how long before he was rescued. So I think that's just like a little instinct thing of his. But Nugget was perfection. She slept in the bed. She didn't go and wake me up, which I was a little bit worried about because she didn't go potty before we went to bed last night. Hi, honey. She's actually eating, which is good because when something is thrown off, like if Charles is gone or I'm gone, she won't really eat her food. So it's good that she's finally doing that. I notice she tends to do that a lot more when I'm talking. So I don't know if that's a comfort piece where hearing my voice makes her feel safe enough to go and eat. But regardless, I'm happy she's eating. So that's definitely a win in my book. Yeah, so it was a little bit chaotic this morning, and then I made myself breakfast, got my Earl Grey tea all set up, sat down on the couch, and then one of the cats threw up as soon as I sat down. So I had to go and clean that up. Yeah, I'm gonna try to take it easy. I'm still mad. I had planned on doing so much this weekend, or not this weekend, but the days while Charles was away. I was gonna do some deep cleaning, decluttering, stuff like that, and I just don't have the energy to do so. It's frustrating. It's very, very frustrating. I would have tried to pull through, but I've noticed if I did any too much like physical exertion, then I'd start coughing. And for the most part throughout this cold, I haven't been coughing. I've just mostly had a sore throat and then really bad body aches. But yeah, then there's the coughing, and the coughing doesn't even, like, coughing doesn't feel great in general, but I don't know where I'm going with this. I'm rambling right now, but we're gonna do some reading and probably have a little bit of couch time. I might stay down here and maybe watch a movie with Nugget and then eventually go upstairs. I'd like to be upstairs in my office, but I don't have a reading chair up there anymore, and I just have my office chair, which is comfortable and fine, but I would like something cozier. Let's get the timer set up. We got my Capricorn mug. Most of my mugs are all chipped at some point. It's fine. They still function. Okay. So the hour basically stopped, but I'm at page 258 and there's 282 pages left in the book. So I think what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna go and finish reading just so I can start a new book. But yeah, so far it's going well. Things are getting very, very intense. People are kind of getting picked off at this point, but the remaining people are trying to work together to try to protect their perimeter and live long enough to maybe potentially get rescued. So it's really, I always like these things in survival stories where you get to see kind of the psychological changes that happen to the people in the group. Like who's going to go and step up, who's going to be more of a leader and discover these really beneficial roles that they have for the group and staying safe and alive. And then on the other side of things, who is kind of going to be a weak link? Who are they going to need to kind of push and try to get them to pull their own weight? I always find that stuff so fascinating in survival stories. And I think that's part of the reason why I love end of the world, apocalyptic type of things, because it fascinates me so much. And I think I've talked about this before, that I did psychology in college. It was my undergrad. And that's just one of the things, like, it's just so fascinating how the human brain works and how they're going to survive, what is going to go to the surface in difficult situations. So yeah, I'm enjoying it. I probably wouldn't say this is a favorite book for me, probably because like just some of the scientific things my brain just blurs over completely, but it is enjoyable. It is pretty good, but probably going to be like a 3.5 for me if I'm going to be completely honest. But I'm going to keep reading and finish the book so that we have another book done for this little realistic, well, not realistic, reading an hour every single day. I think I've definitely been cheating just because I've continued reading, especially if I'm close to finishing a book, but this is realistically how it is for me. If I'm getting close to the end of a book or I'm at a good moment, it's really hard for me to put a book down. So if anything, doing this reading for an hour every single day has kind of helped push me past book slumps and get more into the interesting part of a book so that I'm fully enjoying what I'm reading and not dragging through it, if that makes sense. But I'll check in again here in a bit.
Okay, this book is done, so now I need to go and pick up another book, which I'll probably read a little bit of tonight, as is usually the norm for me with reading before bed. And then I'll do my last bit of reading tomorrow, and then kind of tally up all the books that I've read during this whole little challenge. But it was fun. I definitely feel like I'll probably do it again in the future, especially if I'm in a reading slump or have a good head start and I'm out of a reading slump and just want to continue reading. It's kind of fun to allow yourself that 1 hour of space to specifically read, not have any distractions or anything else going on. But yeah, this has been fun and I've enjoyed it so much. Hi, Finn. One of the cats that's been terrorizing me today. But I'm excited to see what I pick up next to go and read. What do you think, Finn? I think he's trying to apologize for being such a pain and not letting me sleep. Huh. I guess I forgive him.
Yeah.
I guess I forgive you. So we'll talk again tomorrow. Good morning, everyone. So I decided to go with Womb City, and I'm not quite sure how to pronounce the author's name, so I'll have to go and look this up later. But I decided to pick this one because there's currently the trans readathon going on, so I'll include an image here. But this was one of the books that is on the list, and I've been really wanting to go and read this, so although it's not on my Defend the TBR list,
I figured this gave me a perfect excuse to finally go and pick this book up. So I did a little bit of reading last night. I'm on page 18, and this is going to be the last book that we read for the last chunk of an hour-long reading. So I'll get the timer ready and then we'll start. All right? And here we go. I'm at page 64 out of Womb City so far, and there's definitely a lot to fully comprehend. And given that I'm sick, my brain has to read over some of the things a couple of times before I fully understand what's going on. But it seems like in this story, male and female characters have body jumpers. So up until the age of 70, you can potentially live in that body unless something happens where you have to get taken out and put into a new body, or some sort of stuff happens. But it seems like women are held under a stricter microscope. So depending on whether or not that soul is deemed where they could be doing something criminal or something like that, they can potentially get removed from that body and put into jail, or a new soul gets put into that body if it's deemed that it's just the soul that's bad and not the body, or if it's the other way around, then the soul's put on a wait list to potentially get put into a new body. There's a lot. There's definitely a lot, but there were a few moments that I had to kind of mark down. So I never annotate my book. I tend to usually take screenshots, and so I have a bunch of screenshots in my phone of different pages in books where I'm hoping that eventually I'll put them into my book journal. I've kind of fallen behind on that. But yeah, no, it's really interesting. Definitely a lot to kind of wrap my mind around, but I'm enjoying it so far, so it's been good. But with that being said, we've reached the end of our challenge that I've done for an entire week, where I read an hour every single day. We've finished two whole books so far. So one was Spring Fling by Anna England Noblin, and then De-Evolution by Max Brooks. So I finished 2 books and started this one. So this challenge has been fun. It was a little bit trickier, especially with the fact that I got sick, but it's definitely been nice to kind of have an hour set apart to go and read and get through a few books, and also get past the 100-page mark, which usually tends to be a struggle for me, because it's always after the 100-page mark that the book tends to pick up and is so hard for me to put down. In all actuality, I've probably done more than an hour-long reading, as you've seen, because I finished a few books. But yeah, I thought this was a lot of fun, and I hope you enjoyed it as well. Hopefully the next time I do this challenge, I'm not just stuck at my desk and I'm moving around a little bit more, but this is kind of a realistic way of showing how I'm normally reading. Usually I'll read here or in my bed, so those tend to be my more popular reading areas. And I hope you, like I said, I hope you enjoyed this video. I kind of have sick brain, so I'm gonna go and continue taking care of myself and resting. But for you, that's the end of this video. So if you liked it, please leave a like, maybe subscribe to my channel if you've been enjoying my content so far, and also maybe leave a comment down below if you think I should do this challenge again, but maybe for a longer period of time, like doing 2 hours every single day for a week or something along those lines. I'd definitely be curious to hear your thoughts. Or if you think I should do a theme, like should I do horror books only, romance books only, I'd love to hear your thoughts. And as always, I want you to remember that you're worthy and capable of amazing things. Bye.